Packer Nation? What it do? I'm Camille Davis coming to you after the Packers 27-18 win over the Cincinnati Bengals. And honestly, y'all, this game did not go the way I hoped it would go. Given how poorly the Cincinnati Bengals have played over the last 3 weeks with Jake Browning at quarterback, which is why, of course, they moved to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's first game, he got to Cincinnati on Tuesday. I had very, very high hopes that this would be a game for the Packers in which you would see dominance, right? The scoreboard doesn't reflect that. And the level of dominance wasn't really there outside of the first half. First half, it felt like the game should not have been 10-0. At halftime, it felt like it should have been 17-0 at that point. In large part, too, because the very first drive, the Packers are moving, right? Then Love throws a bad interception, 3rd and 5 on the Cincinnati 19. Like, you got to throw it away there. That's what I yelled out at my television watching that particular play. You got to throw it away there. He was feeling himself just a little bit too much, and the hero ball won out there. But outside of that particular play there, Jordan Love was pretty good in this game. Offensive line was shaky early, but you saw them start to find a rhythm there as the game went on. I do think it's noteworthy that Jordan Morgan was still in there at right guard over Sean Ryan. Like the first couple possessions, you saw him doing the back and forth thing. Then it was Morgan. So that's something to keep an eye on going forward if the Packers continue to switch. But offensive line play got stronger. And Love also had a moment there on that first touchdown drive where he sailed the pass over Musgrave's head. It's just a bad throw. The very next play, Jordan Love finds Golden for a beauty along the sideline there. And you need a short memory when you're a quarterback, right? He just had a bad throw. He came back and threw like a 31, 35-yard pass to Golden right there, right on the money, over his shoulder, using the boundary well. A beautiful, beautiful throw. And quarterbacks need a short memory. They also got to have resiliency. And you saw that from Love in this game. And speaking of Matthew Golden, rookie is popping. Okay. He only had 3 receptions in this game, but each one of them felt big. He was the leading receiver on the team with 86 yards. And for all the faults, even though the Packers didn't win by the 14.5-point spread that they had coming into this game, I thought it was really good to see Josh Jacobs get it going. Like we saw him pick up the rhythm a bit against Dallas. That was his best game to date prior to this game against the Bengals at home. And the Packers seemed to be very intentional, is the word I'll use, to make sure that Jacobs was involved in this game, because not only did he get going on the ground, 93 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns, 5.2 yard per carry in this game. He also had 57 receiving yards. 57 receiving yards there for Josh Jacobs in this one. The man was just on fire. My math is correct. That's 140 yards from scrimmage there for him. So love seeing Josh Jacobs get going in this one. Love seeing Matthew Golden making some big key plays. Tucker Kraft, again, it's just a madman. He's someone who seeks out contact consistently. That touchdown that he had there was a big one. So the offense found a way to get it done, even with the bad interception to kick the game off, had the resiliency, kept rolling. The Bengals defense really didn't have too much for them. They did get pressure at times. And like I said, the offensive line kind of had to step it up there in this game, and they started sending pressure there late in the second half. But again, the offense did enough. They found a way. And the defense did enough, found a way. The defense was elite in the first half. Elite. The Bengals only had 65 yards in the first half. 65 yards in the entire first half. 40 yards passing, 25 yards rushing. And honestly, most of that came in the very last drive the Bengals had right before halftime that ended with the missed field goal. 44 of those 65 yards they had in the first half came on that last drive, in which, let me just say, Matt LaFleur, thank you for calling that timeout right before that 67-yard field goal attempt, because it looked like it was going to be good after we saw it bounce off the bar, roll in, but didn't count. Second time, the field goal was too short, which left the Bengals scoreless at halftime, which when you win a game by 9 points, all of that matters. All of that matters. Second half for the defense. Now, to only give up 18 points in the game, you take that. You will take that. It's just the fact that it felt like it was easy for the Bengals in the second half to a certain degree. So I can understand the frustration from watching this game and it feeling like it got a little too close for comfort at the end because it was a one possession game there at a time. And you're just kind of like, oh my goodness, like, how are we going to do this? But every time the Packers offense responded, even if it was just a field goal, they responded. And speaking of field goals, going into this game, hearing Brandon McManus talk about like, hey, I think I'm going to be ready to go. I'm not too worried about it. Didn't go. Inactive. So shout out to Lucas Havarisk because he knocked down that 43-yarder early in the game. It kind of gave me confidence personally watching the game. Like, okay, they can go back to him if needed. And it was needed because the last Packers drive before the kneel out, they got down, they were moving, but they needed a 39-yard field goal from him to, push it back to a 2-possession game. And he came through. So shout out to Havarisk on this particular game here coming through for the Packers. And again, there is still so much more for, I think, this offense to achieve. It feels like this Packers team has levels that they can still get to. I love feeling that way in a victory too, where it's like, the mistakes that were made didn't cost you, but the mistakes that you made are things that you can look at on tape and try to improve. Christian Watson should be coming back for this team pretty soon. Now, we do need to keep an eye on the injuries because in this game, we did see Lucas Van Ness leave the game with an injury. We also saw Wicks leave the game with an injury. So hopefully nothing too long-term for those two. The Packers have been so beat up so far early in this year. You don't want too many more injuries there. But all in all, a needed win. Might not have been as pretty or as overall dominant based on the scoreboard, based on how the second half went as expected, given what the Bengals had done. But I tip my hat to Joe Flacco in this game. He performed better than what I expected him to on a short week. When he felt pressure, he didn't throw the ball up and put in dangerous situations. He dirted it, which was a big difference between him and Browning before. So tip my hat to Flacco on the game, but a bigger hat tip to the Green Bay Packers who found a way to win. Make sure you keep it locked into the Pack a Day Podcast YouTube channel and the audio side, where we will continue to break down all aspects of this Packers victory over the Bengals. And as the week goes on, of course, look ahead to what's coming up in week 7. But that'll do it for me here today. And as always, go Pack Go.
Hey, Packers fans, it's time to get our sleeper picks in for Monday Night Football in Week 6. Bears, Commanders. This should be a fun one. We get to hate watch the Bears and hope they lose and everything like that, which should be really, really fun. But I'm going very quarterback heavy in this one. I'm going Caleb Williams, fewer than 230.5 passing yards, but more than 24.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to scramble a lot in this game. I think he's going to get to those rushing yards, but I think he'll fall short on the passing yards. Meanwhile, Jaden Daniels, the exact opposite. I expect him to be able to throw the ball in this one for more than 215.5 passing yards. Meanwhile, I think the Bears will really try to basically keep him in the pocket and make sure he cannot win with his legs. So I'm going fewer than 43.5 rushing yards. There's a lot of reasons I love sleeper, but look at this one. You can see the contest here, a $5 entry with the opportunity to win $66.23. I'm using one of their profit boosts, which they are awesome at doing, providing you with these extra bonuses and promotions, which makes it really, really fun. And it enhances your opportunities when it comes to winnings. Also, right now, but you can get a 100% match on Sleeper by utilizing code PACKADAY up to $100. Again, a 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKADAY. And you can get a free $20 entry, and you don't even need to make a deposit on it. So a free $20 entry with no deposit necessary. A ton of awesome promos over on Sleeper. Make sure you're checking it out. Terms and conditions apply. You can find those on Sleeper, available in over 25 states. Check it out. What the heck are you waiting for?